Hello, 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 everyone. Come on into the webinar. Thank you for coming in. We're going to talk about, yes, grants for Black organizations in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. internationally. So you are in the right place. So come on in. Come on in. Let me know where you're coming in from. Give that country, continent, or city or state a shout out. I'm in Ohio where we had like a little heat wave today. It was like 30 some odd degrees where it's been cold. It's been -2 and 0 and just all kinds of frosty weather. So today we had a little heat wave. So let me know. Give that city and that state a shout out as you come in. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. We're going to start in a couple of minutes. Come on in. Come on in. I have a lot of information to share with you today. Hello, Charles from Sierra Leone. Welcome. Welcome, Charles. Who else? Who else? Who else? Come on in. I'm going to scoot up a little bit. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. I have a lot of information to share with you. Hello, Thomas from, is it Tanzania? Tanzania. Look at our international folks with us today. Our international folks. Ooh, Rwanda. Hello, John. Look at Africa's in the house. And let me tell you, say hello to Melissa. She's my assistant and she is in Zimbabwe right now. So she is stationed in Zimbabwe. So say hello to Melissa, my assistant. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. Emmy. Emmy is from Kenya. All right, all right, all right. We're going to get started because I do have a lot of information to share with you. And we're going to share our screen and then we're going to just get started. Let me make sure, however, that the view is correct. There we go. All right, so let's share our screen. Hello, David from Liberia. Look at all these beautiful people from the motherland showing up today. All right, all right. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. Hopefully, you should be able to hear me okay. So this is how you not just write, but win grants for Black organizations. I'm going to lay out this framework for you. I've been in this industry for 18 years, so I've done the work so that it's easier for you to do. All right, let's get going. So a little bit about me. My name is Linda Peavy. And yes, in the US, they know me as the grants queen because I've been writing grants for well over 17 years, 18 years now. And I've won almost $20 million in grants for my clients. A couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to start teaching. And so I created my LaPav Writing School. I have over 3,000 students in that academy, nonprofits and for-profits. And I've trained over 30,000 individuals and organizations in my webinars on how to write grants. I also teach grant writing to some of your larger organizations like Goldman Sachs, the Urban League, National Association of Women Business Owners, and I'm a proud alumnus of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. Now, my undergraduate and graduate degrees are from Akron. Go Zips, Akron, Ohio. And yes, it is my mission and my passion to help you secure funding for your organization. You have a passion, whether it's your nonprofit or your for-profit, right? You started that organization because you had a passion for something and you need funding for it, right? So we're going to talk about how you can get that funding. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about my journey because I wasn't always called the grants queen. I was a publishing executive in Pennsylvania and I was living my life. I was flying all over the world and then I got hurt. And when I got hurt, that was it. The bottom fell out. I found myself in Pennsylvania having to leave everything that I knew in the past 10 years. And literally, I had to go home to Cleveland. I ended up arriving in Cleveland in a wheelchair. I never thought I would come home in a wheelchair, but I was hurt and I needed to be seen by the Cleveland Clinic, right? One of the best hospitals in the world. And that was my home. Cleveland, Ohio was my home. So I left that beautiful position, traveling the world, to moving everything I own into a storage unit and moving it with my sister. So when I tell you, I know how it feels to start from the bottom, to start from ground zero, because that's exactly what I had to do. And it took me 2 years to recuperate. And at the end of those 2 years, I couldn't find a job. I was in Cleveland. My career was in publishing. Cleveland, Ohio is not like, the publishing capital of the world. And that's when I started Lepov Consulting. That's when I started my own company because I couldn't find a job. And once I started, one of my first positions was to be an executive director of a nonprofit. And all of a sudden, I start with this nonprofit. I wasn't even there 2 weeks, people. And the board of directors called me in and told me that I had to write a grant. I had to write a grant that would pay for my salary. And just like many of you, I had never seen a grant before. I had never seen a grant before. I had like no knowledge of grants. And here I am, no experience. But you know what? I did it. That was me calling for help. I have to write a grant to pay for my salary. But you know what? I did it. I researched. I wrote that grant. I won that grant and it saved my job from no experience. And then when I left that organization, grant writing became my most sought after service because I went from winning $500 grants to $500,000 grants. Like, you can do this. Remember, I started with no experience. The more grants I wrote, the more large dollar money I won. And I need for you to think about, like, where do you want to be in a few months? Because I call this the money truck. I want your name on the money truck, right? Because I started winning like millions of dollars in grants. And so I've established like a framework. I've done all the hard work so that you can have it a little bit easier when you are pursuing these grants. Because in a few months, we're like, where do you want to be? Because you've got to stop wasting time. You want to be finding the right grants. You want to position your organization to start not just writing a bunch of grants, but winning grants. You want to stop having to ask family and friends for money. You want to stop paying for all of the expenses or just 100% self-funding your organization. And you got to stop the one person operation because it is very draining. That's what I was in that organization years ago where I had to write that grant. It was just me. But you know what? When you get grant money, you can hire staff to help you. You can hire support staff so that you can finally realize your dream of having a successful nonprofit, a successful small business without it all coming out of your pocket. All right. So what will we cover today? We'll talk about why this class is important, the current grant landscape, like what's going on, grant basics, grant strategy. That is most important because I'm trying to lead you to be in a place where you can start winning grants, not just writing grants. We'll talk about AI and how you can use it to write faster and better. Then I have a bonus surprise for you at the end, and we're going to do a Q&A. So make sure you are dropping those questions in either the webinar chat or the Q&A box. Either one or the other. You don't have to do both because that takes up more time. Either drop the questions in the chat or the Q&A box. And as I always say, like, this is a no fluff zone. I'm going to give you information that you can use right now. But I want you to ask yourself, have you been fearful of this? Have you been scared to write grants? Why? Because you think it takes too long? Everything's different now. Look, maybe you have $5,000 to pay a grant writer to write one grant. If not, you need to be able to learn how to place yourself in position to get grant money. Because grant writing doesn't take months anymore. It takes days and hours, not even weeks. Those applications are no longer 100 pages. Some of these applications are 2 and 3 pages. You don't have to be a professional grant writer to secure grant money. You just need to know the process and you need a strategy. And that's what we'll talk about today. Strategy. Because I want to ask you, where are you? Like, do you see yourself in this picture here? Because there's been a sea of misinformation about grants. Did you think, let me know, give me a yes in the chat. Did you think all grants were gone? Did you think all DEI funding had been eliminated? Did you think only large organizations got grants? Is everybody hearing an echo? Because you shouldn't be hearing an echo. Let me know if everybody's hearing an echo. It should be smooth. Did you think that grants take too long? Did you think that maybe Black organizations didn't get grants? Did you maybe think international organizations didn't win grants? This is all incorrect, all misinformation. Grants are here. Not all DEI funding was cut. Small organizations can win grants. Grants can take hours, not months. And yes, Black organizations are winning grants as we speak. My students who learn from me, who are in my classes, who meet with me, they're winning 5 and 6 figure grants right now, like right now. And yes, international organizations, especially, yes, those who are in Africa. Yes, you can win grants too. Look at Melinda. Melinda is one of my students. She wasn't winning any grants. She has a phenomenal program where she wants to create Black pilots. And so she works with students to have them move through a flight simulator so that they can be better prepared to go to flight school. She was a nonprofit. She wasn't getting any grant money. She came to me. She's using my resources. She said, Linda Peavy, I love your courses and learning by applying your methodology. She won a $5,000 grant. Now she's able to buy a new flight simulator for those students because she wants to create Black pilots. The good news for all of you is that all those federal grants that you heard were being cut, they don't equal all grants. Grants come from many resources, private foundations, community foundations, family foundations. That's the good news. Corporate foundations. And that covers your small businesses and your nonprofits. Speaking of that, let me know who is here with me today. Let me know in the chat. Are you a small business? Are you a nonprofit? Or maybe you are both. Let me know who is here with me. Small business, nonprofit, or maybe both. Small business, small business. Yes, I hear from some of you saying that you thought there were no grants, right? You thought all the grant money was gone. Both? Ah, some of you have both, a nonprofit and a small business. Excellent. There are grants for both. And here's what's happening. This is more good news. Those corporate and private foundations are stepping in to cover the gaps left by federal grants. But those federal grant cuts, it's your corporate foundations and your private foundations. They have increased the amount of their grant funding, trying to cover the gaps left by those federal grant cuts. And guess what? Even your state and your local government, they have grants too. Have you met with them? Your county? So don't think government grants are shut down because of what happened at the federal level. A lot of your state and local governments, they raise their own money, right? To give away grant funding. So yes, you should be meeting with your state, county, and local municipalities to find out whether or not they have grants because look what's happening. This is where grant money is coming from. There's over 150,000 private foundations, over 17,000 public foundations, over 900 community foundations, and over 2,000 corporate foundations. And you might have heard recently, even the federal government reinstated $2 billion worth of grant funding. So things are changing. And look at this amount here. This is the amount of grants that are given out every single year. And this is non-federal money. The latest number we have is from 2024, over $200 billion. That's the money that you should be vying for right now. This is non-federal money. So you got to get in this game, but you have to use strategy. And let's talk about DEI. Minorities, women, veterans, the disabled. We know that the federal government cut DEI funding, and then they were trying to pressure a lot of the foundations to cut DEI funding. But guess what? These communities, this is where foundations give. They give to communities of color, minorities, women, veterans, the disabled. So what did they do? They weren't going to just stop giving to these communities because of pressure from the current administration. So they decided to use different language and shift. So instead of saying DEI or funds for African American communities or minority communities or Black communities, they started using different language. And this is what I need for you to do. Because at the end of the day, I still need for you to get this money that really is set aside for DEI. Only it's going to be called something a little different now. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a program that offers youth development opportunities. Could be for Black boys, could be for African boys, for boys of the African diaspora, African American boys. You're going to change that language, take out the ethnicity, and put in the condition that you're really trying to address. So instead of saying our program offers youth development opportunities for Black boys, you can say we provide youth development for what? Historically underserved and underrepresented boys. So this is the buzzword that you're going to be looking for, underrepresented. Another buzzword, underserved. Or inequities. You serve boys disproportionately impacted by economic and educational inequities. This is very important for all of you to get, no matter where you are, whether you're in the US or Africa. If you're seeking funds from US organizations, be prepared to just tweak that language a bit. This is very important for you to know because this is how you're still going to get that DEI money. So give me a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. This is very important for you to get. All right? So give me a yes if you get this. Give me a yes if you see where I'm changing, I'm tweaking language so that you can still get that application through. All right? Very good, very good. Now let's go back to the basics. What do you need to know? Grants are not paid back. That's the great news, right? Grants are not paid back. Now, for those of you with the nonprofits, make sure you have a 501c3 that's provided by the IRS, those that are here in the US. But let me say something to all of you about small businesses, because this is where a lot of small businesses fail when it comes to grant money. When you think about your organization, you still have to describe it similar to how nonprofits do. Who do you serve? How do you serve them? What is your impact? What is your uniqueness? Because there's still competition. So if you have a small business, how are you different than the next small business? That's what foundations want to know. I met with two organizations earlier this week. They both had black hair salons. Both had black hair salons. They're both trying to get grant money. So when I met with them, I needed to know how are they different? Because there are thousands of black hair care salons in the US and in Africa. Probably tens of thousands, right? So what's going to set them apart? One, the first company that I spoke to, she focused on women with hair loss. Hair loss could be due to diet, could be due to disease, could be due to cancer, could be due to other variables, other factors, but she had a niche there that she really focused on women who were suffering from hair loss. So that made her different than the average black hair salon. The second hair salon, she made wigs for women who were suffering from alopecia or they had cancer and they lost their hair because of chemotherapy. So she made custom wigs. So when I hear about this uniqueness. That's what foundations want to hear. And this is what you have to ask yourself. How are you different? That's what you have to put into that grant application because that's what foundations want to hear. How are you different? What are you doing differently? Because guess what? The real problem, right, is that most organizations aren't losing grants because of writing. You're applying without any strategy. You look at a grant, you see it, and you go after it, and you complete it, and you wonder why you get a rejection letter. You got to use strategy. First, let's start with your legal documents, your legal and your financial documents. Do you have these ready? Your EIN, your employer identification number, nonprofits, do you have the 501c3? And those of you with corporations, are you incorporated? Do you have a legitimate organization, a legitimate business, whether you are here or in Africa? If you are a nonprofit, do you have a board of directors? That is a requirement for nonprofits. If you have been operating, do you have your financial statements? That means your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement. And even if you are new, do you have an annual budget? All of you need an annual budget because at the end of the day, you have to have some idea of how much money it's going to take for you to operate your organization. So these things are needed before you even think about grant money. And then you need a grant budget because you have to ask yourself, how much grant money do you need? And if you do get it, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? I want you all to think about this. What would you do with a $10,000 grant versus a $50,000 grant? You have to be ready and think about what exactly would you do with the money. At the end of the day, you need a grant template. You need an in-depth grant template because that grant template tells your story. And this is how you impress foundations. They want to know. There was a reason why you started. Why did you start? Right? The one young lady with the hair care salon, she started because she saw so many black women with hair loss, right? No edges. And it wasn't all because of a disease. Some of it was because of bad nutrition. Some of it was because they weren't using the right products. So she's like, I want to address this. It's okay for you to be vulnerable when you talk about your history. Do you have a homeless ministry? Maybe you have them because maybe you were once homeless. You have to think about your target population. Who are you targeting? Because you can't help everybody. Who would best be served by your organization? You've got to drill down. You can't just say, Linda, I want to help everybody. Like, I want to make sure everybody has clean water and everybody has a place to live. It doesn't work that way in the grant world. You have to be specific. Is it women, children, veterans? And then what is the problem that you're solving? And how is it that you are solving the problem? And it could be something like, as simple as a restaurant, right? Maybe you have a for-profit, you have a restaurant that opened in a particular community. Why did you open in that community? Maybe there wasn't a restaurant within a 2-mile radius. What kind of restaurant is it? Is it a soul food restaurant? Maybe there weren't any other soul food restaurants. Like, what is the problem that you're solving? And then what has been your impact on the people that you serve? And this is true for profits and nonprofits. And community partnerships are critical. And then I talk about the grant budget again. You got to have some idea of how much money you need. Everybody can't get $1 million grant. So really, how much money do you need to operate? These are two of the key reasons why grants fail. Mission misalignment. Organizations apply to funders who were never even designed to fund them. 87% of grants are rejected due to funder mismatch. You have a bakery. You make cakes all day. Why are you applying to a funder and a foundation that only gives money to organizations that create motorcycles? There's a mismatch there. Make sure that the foundation that you are sending that application to is funding programs and projects and services that align with what you do. And then time scarcity, right? A lot of people wait until the last minute and then they don't think strategically before applying. They just see money and let me apply. Let me just get that application in. Resources like AI, they can give you your time back, literally. Because instead of it taking you months to apply for a grant, it can now take you hours and days. Your mission is everything, people. Even if you have a small business, you need a mission statement because your mission is going to align you with that foundation, with their area of interest. So, all of you, if you don't have a mission statement, that's homework for you. You have to have a mission statement. And then you have to measure your results, track your success. This is how foundations are giving grant money. How are you helping those that you serve? Let's say you have an after school program. Look, it's great that you can say, I serve 150 students. That's fantastic. But it's about more than that. Can you say that a percentage of those students actually improved their test scores? Or that maybe they gained confidence and now they can graduate from school on time, high school on time, and go to college or go to trade school or join the military? Because that's measurable change. And really, this is how foundations are giving grant money. Who's changing people's lives with what they provide? And even if you haven't started, let's say you have a startup, so you don't have impact yet. You can talk about what you hope your impact will be. So you can say, once we open up our after school program, we expect to serve 150 students. We expect for the test scores to be improved by 80%. So whether you have open or you're opening, you still have to talk about impact. This is Hepzibah. She's another one of my clients. She wasn't getting any grants, but she was taught by me to use strategy. She would never have known about the Emmy Lou Tompkins Foundation, but she knew how to research now. This is what we teach. And she was able to get a $10,000 grant. She has a Sisters Against Domestic Violence program. And she was able to make sure that a client got legal support. And she said, all praise to the Most High. Linda Peavy's course really works, y'all. She would never have even thought to apply to this foundation and to meet with them. So this works. This works. There's a process to it. And so much of it is about the grant search. How do you search for the right organization? You have to know where to find grants for Black-led organizations, nonprofits, and small businesses. You have to know how to find grants that target your industry and know where to find international grants. Because yes, there are grants for organizations that may be stationed here in the US, but their target population is in Africa. There are grants for people that live and serve communities in Africa. Absolutely. You have to know how to find them. So here's a clue. The first thing you need to do is search locally. It's easier to get local funding. If you just Google, this is especially here in the US, if you Google local community foundations, there's probably one near you. And then you need to learn how to meet with them and how you talk to them. That's what we do. We teach you that. But search nationally. This is where too many organizations fail. They only think about grants in their city or in their county or in their state. There are more grants nationwide. So you're leaving grant money on the table if you're not searching for national grants. And then absolutely search internationally. For those of you who are here internationally, use grant portals. Also look at who is funding in your local area, regardless of where you are, whether it's Zimbabwe or Kenya. The U.S. embassies in many of these communities offer funding. The U.S. embassies. And then, of course, your foundations. So I'm going to break this down a little bit. What are the grant portals that I talked about? These are portals that you can use to search for grants. The Foundation Directory Online, that's the leading source of information on funders. Organizations that provide grants is $50 a month to subscribe or is free at your local library. Believe it or not, there are still some federal grants out there. The Lilly Foundation, guess what? They fund religious organizations, faith-based organizations. And yes, churches can get grants. Right now there's a Walmart grant that churches can apply for. Walmart. Grant Watch is another portal. They're $20 a week or $200 for the whole year. You get to search for grants. Grant Station, $200 for the whole year. You get to search the whole year for grants for $200. Urban Awareness USA, they're a Black-owned organization. They provide free training. Grants for creators. Are you a musician or a writer or a poet or an artist? That's a great portal for you to look for grants. It's like $97 for the whole year. And the biggest portal of grants is it's called the Grant Portal. You're going to be searching these portals for grants. Now, instrumental is $200 a month. They're super pricey. I don't think you need to pay that kind of money to search for grants. The grant portal is $200 a year too. Let's talk about if you're here internationally, especially from Africa. I'm going to just use one example, Nigeria. But this is relevant to all of you that are from international communities, especially Africa. Use your grant databases. The Grant Station, they have listings for grants available in Nigeria. Instrumental, right? If some organizations can afford that, they have an Africa Grants database that's updated regularly. There's another organization called Funds for NGOs. You tag Nigeria, is going to give you information about grants for organizations that serve Nigeria. Here's another one, the Development Research and Project Center. They have a list of grants available for Nigeria. And then continent-wise, all over Africa, you got African NGOs. And this is for all of you on here. Also search by your subject area. Let's say you're in community development or small infrastructure in Nigeria. That could mean clean water, health clinics, schools. U.S. Embassy in Nigeria has information that might be able to help you get funded. Is your area education, community resilience? There's a World Bank link. They have a program that helps provide information. And oftentimes you may need to partner with other organizations, whether you're in Nigeria or the US. You may need to partner with other organizations, especially on larger grants. Is it climate control or water systems? The UNDP, the UK Pact, and the AFDB. Search those for resources. And then foundations. There are some US-based foundations that specifically help communities in Africa. One is the Ford Foundation, the other is the Gates Foundation. All right. Keep those questions coming. Now, for my US-based organizations, this is just an example to let you know there are funding resources geared for Black communities. The Beyonce grants. Those grants are geared for hair care salons, and we know there's a preference for Black hair care salons. There's another grant that's coming up by Shea Moisture. They make the hair and shampoo, again, for hair care salons. There's a U.S. Black Chamber. You know, they're the lead organization for all of the different Chamber of Commerce locations, the Black Chamber of Commerce locations across the country. They have a list of grants. Are you a startup? Busy.com. They provide startup grants. Are you a nonprofit? The Lilly Foundation has, in my knowledge, the only grant available specifically to Black churches. Amarillo, they're in Texas. They give to super small organizations. And did you all know that banks provide grants? How many of you knew banks provide grants? They don't just provide loans. They provide grants. And here's five. I'm giving you five different banks that provide grants every single year. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, TD Banks, Truist, and Citizens Bank. And then there are some grants geared towards women. Amber Grants for Women, they give away $30,000 every single month. So if you are a woman-owned business, you need to apply for Amber Grants for Women. And guess what? This is what we help you with in our organization, because you can have one program and we can help look for grants for you across different categories. So let's say you have a homeless program for veterans. That checks off multiple boxes. So if you are providing any type of job training to those veterans, now you can apply to a job training grant. Are you giving them any type of education whatsoever? Now you can apply for education grant. We know that many veterans suffer from PTSD. If you are providing any type of counseling, all a part of your homeless program, you can apply for health and wellness grants. And because it is a homeless program, you're trying to get them into stable housing, you can apply for a housing or homelessness prevention program. That's one program, four different grant areas, right? Four different grant areas. But this is really about shifting your mindset and understanding there is a way in which you place yourself in a better position to get grants. Because some of you might be thinking, Linda, oh, I don't know if I have time for this. AI will give you your time back. And what I really want to ask you, and I would like an answer in the chat, like, do you have time to get free money? People, this is free money that you don't pay back. And how many of you have time to get free money? Let me know in the chat, like, who has time to get free money? This is free money, right? Right. Yvette says she has time to get free money, right? Is she the only person that has time to get free money? Annalise says, I'll make time. That's what I'm talking about. It's free money, people. Evelyn says, yes, this is free money. David, yes. Right? And I always say this is the number one move that hardly anybody makes. And this is one of the key ways in which you can make yourself much more attractive to get that grant is meet with these foundations. Meet with them. Doesn't have to be in person. It can be a Zoom meeting. After training over 30,000 individuals and organizations, this is the pattern. Organizations that meet with foundations, they win more grant money. They win more grant money. We teach you how to meet, what to say, how to say it. This is Kimberly. Remember I said grant applications are no longer 100 pages? She got $84,000 with a 4-page application. She said Linda's it was one of the easiest grants I've ever completed. She's one of our clients, so she knows how to write. She knows what to say, and she won it. 4-page application, $84,000. Like, what could you do with $84,000? And you only had to write a 4-page application. Now let's talk about AI. It is a tool, people. It's not going to be a replacement. At the end of the day, you have to learn how to write about your organization. But once you write about it, once you get those paragraphs written, you can plug it into AI because AI can't give you answers unless you give it information about your organization. So you have to be able to write about your need statement, your impact statement, and then you plug it into AI. And it can make it sound better. It can do research for you so that you can write faster and better. You can cut 80% off your research time because you might be sitting there with like, 10 different tabs open. How many of you right now, you got more than 10 tabs open, just researching and spending hours and hours and hours trying to get this research to prove that your organization is needed or that restaurant is needed. AI can do it in minutes. In minutes. Cutting your research time. Let's do a live little demonstration. This is the Chicago Children's Program. I need to know data and stats from AI that will prove that my program here, my Chicago Children's Program, is needed in the Chicago area because you have to prove to a foundation that you're needed. So it's a nonprofit that provides free after-school tutoring and reading and math for underserved Chicago students in grades 3 through 5. Each year, the program supports more than 80 children from low-income households and under-resourced schools. They have great stats. Over 71% of those students improve at least one proficiency level in reading, and 76% of third graders meet or exceed Illinois' reading benchmark after completing the program. The mission is to close early learning gaps and really strengthen literacy and math foundations so children are prepared for long-term academic success. So, what are we going to do? I'm going to do this live. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go to my chat GPT and I'm going to ask it to give me some stats. So let me go to my chat GPT. I'm going to share my screen again. I get the paid version of chat GPT. It's $20 a month. If you can get the paid version, if not, use your free version. But as you can see, I put in the same paragraph I read, but here's my prompt. So a prompt is your set of instructions to AI. This is super simple. Provide stats and data that show there is a need for the Chicago Children's Program. I need to write a need statement for a grant. It's that simple. So I need data to show that children in Chicago really need an after-school program to increase their reading and math proficiencies. So I'm doing this live. I'm going to hit the button and see what happens. Usually it takes less than a minute to come up. As you can see, it's going through all this data, it's going through all these websites, trying to pull data so that it can give me the best possible answer, right? We can see it's going through the Illinois report card, it's going through Illinois policy, it's going through even a Washington Post. It's giving you information that it's going to compile and give to you so that you can put it in a need statement to show, to prove to that foundation that your organization is needed. All right. So it's looking for proficiency and absenteeism data. When you look at it, you can literally see where it's pulling data from. And it's going, one thing that I love now, it's giving you citations and you can use those citations in your grant writing. So it took less than a minute. It took 48 seconds and look what it did. Academic performance shows a major gap in Chicago is proving that your after school program is needed. It started with the state. Illinois state test indicated only 30.5% of CPS students, Chicago public school students, in grades 3 through 8 met or exceeded standards in reading. That means 70% didn't. Only 18% met or exceeded standards in math. My gosh, 72%, 82% didn't. It's even giving you national data. Only 32% of Illinois fourth graders performed at or above proficiency in reading on the nation's report card. So it's pulling city data, state data. It's even pulling poverty and housing instability data. Because remember, we said that these students are underrepresented and under-resourced. So it's giving you all this data. After school demand is high and access gaps persist, right? It's saying that over 1.1 million Illinois children want after school programs, but only 287,000 plus are enrolled. That's a huge gap. That says to the foundation that your after school program is needed. And here it is. It actually gave you the need statement that you can copy and paste. I want to know in the chat how long it would have taken all of you to come up with this data, city data, state data, national data, poverty data. How long would it have taken you to come up with all of this data? The Illinois data on after school programs, the math and reading assessment test data, the housing instability data, poverty data. Let me know in the chat how long it would have taken you. I'm going to stop sharing. And see, we can use this data in the grant application. And Nell says, I have oh my gosh, 100 tabs. So I want to know, how long would it have taken you to get those stats? How long would it have taken you? How many days? How many hours? How many weeks? Aneli says days. Emmy says probably a week. It took 48 seconds. 48 seconds. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Now, what are some of the hot categories for grants? Workforce development and job training. This is across the country and other parts of the world too. Education and youth development is always popular. STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math. Health and wellness, mental health. You know, there's a mental health crisis in the US and abroad. Tech and AI, always going to be high right now. Homelessness, housing stability. There's a homelessness problem in the US. If you are a small business or an entrepreneur, that money is coming from state funds and corporate funds. We have a gun violence problem in the US, especially. So community safety. For those of you in other parts of the country, community development. How are you changing your community, redeveloping your community? Not just to make it safer, but again, are you putting in schools? Are you putting in hospitals? These are some of the hot areas. But I want you to ask yourself, what happens if you don't do anything? If you just keep doing the same thing you've been doing? You're going to send off more misaligned applications. You're going to get those constant rejections, and you're wasting time and even your credibility. You get frustrated, like the lady in the picture, and then what happens? You just give up. And I don't want you to give up because you're needed. Your organization is needed. Whatever you're doing, it is needed. Your for-profit is needed. That small business is needed. Your nonprofit is needed. Before you apply for another grant, you need to get a strategy. Again, most organizations don't lose grants because they can't write. They're chasing the wrong grants. They're not even positioned to be a fundable organization. They're not even grant ready. It's like that old saying, you're throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. You just keep throwing that spaghetti to see what sticks. And it's constantly falling. You're constantly trying to hold it up. No strategy. You need a better strategy. You need better support. That's why I now offer two ways to work with me. I used to just offer courses, but I realized you need more than a course. Some of you just need these documents done for you. You just need the documents written for you. And now we offer the opportunity to write your grant template for you. We will do the work for you. The value is over $15,000 because we are going to complete your grant template that you're going to reuse to start applying for grants. You don't have to lift a finger in this grant template. We're going to write it for you. We're going to make sure your vision and your mission is tight. Your organizational history is going to be attractive and interesting. Your target population is going to be defined. Your statement of need is going to be there so organizations know exactly what problem you're solving. We're going to describe your organization so that funders want to fund you. We're going to talk about your goals and your outcomes and your evaluation plan. How do you know whether or not you're successful? We're going to talk about your partnerships. And yes, we're going to create that budget for you. And then we're going to have that impact statement so that when this grant template is done and you start applying for grants, you're going to be fundable. Organizations are going to want to talk with you and learn more about your organization. And we've included some bonuses. First of all, you get a 2-page executive summary. This is your anchor document because when you're meeting with foundations, you need to leave them with something. So let's say you send that email to meet with them. Clip your executive summary to the email so that they know something about your organization before they even meet you. And it includes a private strategy call directly with me. I'm going to clarify your strongest funding angle and determine really what funders want from you. So you're going to meet with me privately so that we get your strategy together. And I have two bonuses just for today. We are literally going to create a list of grants for you. That's normally $500 to create a list of 10 grants, custom to your organization. And then I have two courses. I have a grant writing course that will just teach you how to write grants, everything you need to know. At the end, you have the grant template. And then I have an AI course that teaches you how to use AI the right way to write grants faster and easier. We're going to give you the AI course. It's normally $497. You're going to get all of that with the Done For You grant prep package, the Done For You grant template, the executive summary, the strategy call. We're going to give you 10 different grants. And then we're going to throw in the AI course. So all of this is worth over $15,000. The grant template, the executive summary, the strategy call with me, the AI course, the grant list, but it's only going to be $997. That's it for everything. And you will be ready. You will be ready to go. And so the headaches, no. Trying to think about what should I write? No. It's going to be in that grant template written for you. So you're going to be ready. Or you can make two payments of $597. So it's $997 or two payments of $597. It will place you in a much better position. If you're interested, the links are in the chat. The links are in the chat. The links are in the chat. And if you want to meet with me privately so that we can talk about how this grant prep package would work best for you, you can send me an email and we can meet. We can meet privately and talk more about the grant prep package, but it's only $997. It's a lot of work done for you. All right. This is Keisha. Keisha, before she met with me, she had never written a grant before. 8 weeks after completing this program, she had a $100,000 grant. One. One. She had never written a grant before. So this is what happens when organizations stop. When you stop guessing, you use a proven framework. Again, this is year 18 for me. I have Black organizations winning six-figure grants, five-figure grants. But I mentioned earlier, if you just want to do it yourself, you want to learn how to write these grants. I have two courses. I call this the OG course. This is my original grant course. Students have won millions of dollars taking this course because at the end of the course, if you answer my questions right, you're going to have a grant template. You're going to use that grant template to start applying for grants. This is the course I created after winning over $17 million. It includes how you write every part of a grant application. We have a private Facebook group. This is where you get accountability. This is where you get 24/7 help. Come into the Facebook group, ask your questions. And once a month, I do live group coaching calls, live, so that you could just ask me questions. Everything's tax deductible, and you even get a certificate. This course is $497. It's a $5,000 course. I've had it audited. It's a $5,000 course, but I try to keep my courses low. $497. But for the next 3 days, you will only pay $297. That's it, $297. Or two payments of $175. 3 days only. $297 for this $5,000 course that is going to teach you what you need to know. Nicola, right? She's a client. She took the course. She took the grant writing course. She knows how to position herself. And boy, did she position herself. Because when she submitted her grant, she asked for $50,000 a year over 2 years. Her application was so good that the organization countered. I've never seen this. They said, look, you asked for $50,000 a year over 2 years. Will you take $250,000 over the next 6 months? Because we want you to expand this program. This is what happens when you know how to write about your organization. And our course now is $297. She won $250,000 after taking a $300 course. If you're ready for AI, this is my newest course. It has 8 modules. Remember the prompt that I wrote? I give you 150 prompts. If you're ready for AI, this is the AI course. It's going to help you write these proposals 5 times faster. You saw what it did with the research. Less than a minute. Less than a minute. You need to learn how to use AI when it comes to writing grants. This is one of the only courses available on the market that teaches you specifically how to use AI to win grants, one of the only ones. The other two I know of are university courses, and they're both over $700, $800. My course is $497, but for the next 3 days, because I'm still introducing it, is $147, people. $147, that's it. And I've included a custom GPT. It's like a little grant buddy that you can ask questions built right into the course. This is a game changer. This is a game changer. This will help you get to that application. It's $147. And by the way, we do offer buy now, pay later, Affirm, Afterpay, and Klarna. So when you're buying the courses, if you want 4 payments, same as cash, we do offer these 3 options: Affirm, Afterpay, and Klarna. Even on the $147 price, my gosh, that's less than $50 per payment to try to get you where you need to be, because what you were doing in 2025 is not working. It's not going to work in 2026. It's not going to work. You keep doing things the same way that you've been doing them, you're going to continue to be frustrated. So if you want us to work for you and create that grant prep package, is $997. And yes, that's available. Buy now, pay later too. The grant writing course, we called it the OG course. That was the original course. Oh, students have won millions of dollars. $297. The AI course is $147. If you're interested in us literally writing grants for you, send us an email. We can set up a meeting. If you want us to write grants for you, we do that. Those packages literally start at about $4,000 a month. All right. So you have to ask yourself, where do you want to be in 3 months? Do you want to be frustrated? You still want to be frustrated or do you want to be funded? Let me know in the chat. Frustrated or funded? By the way, all of the links, everything's online. All those two courses are online. They never expire. You go at your own pace. They never expire. Go at your own pace. None of the courses expire. So you get to keep that information forever. So what do you want to be in 3 months? Do you want to be frustrated or funded, people? I want to hear from you in the chat. What do you want to be? That's right. Jane says, I want to be funded. You've been frustrated long enough, right? You've been frustrated long enough. All right. That's why Evelyn funded. All right. It's Q&A time. I'm going to stop sharing. And I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but I do see some in the webinar chat. So I'm going to go back up. So all of you, I want you, before we do anything else, I want you to do something for you because it's February. It's time to get the grant money. I want you to do this for you, not for me. All of you, I want you to write in the chat, every one of you. I am ready to get grant money. I am ready to get grant money. I am ready to get grant money because it's time. You can't procrastinate any longer. All right, let me just see what questions I have. Yes, a lot of people assume that there were no grants available, but nothing could be further from the truth. You see, my students are winning six-figure grants, and these are Black organizations, right? I volunteer for a Black-led NGO restoring vision in Africa. We want to start doing cervical cancer screening. Ooh, in underserved areas. Nice. I think that nonprofit needs to be applying for grants. Do funders frown at the use of AI tools in grant proposals by using AI screeners? This is what I teach in my AI course, and this is what I teach. AI is here, right? AI is here. People are using AI to write grants. That's just what's happening, but you have to know how to use it. That's why I created a course, right? One of the things I teach you in my course, AI needs to write in your voice. You have to train AI to write in your voice. There's a way that you do that. You don't want your grant application sounding robotic. A foundation shouldn't even know that you ever used AI. But you know what? If it did, that's okay as long as you are doing what? Telling your story, talking about your organization, writing about your impact. That's what they want to hear. That's what they want to know. Is the mission aligned? Do you have impact? Are you transforming the people that you serve? How are you doing it? Have you told your story? That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. We can pretend that AI is going away, is not. It's here. I use it every day. There's not a day that goes by that I do not use AI. And organizations that I teach are still winning six-figure and five-figure grants. You've got to train it to give you information in your voice. That's one of the first things I teach you in that AI course. Teach it to talk like you. You teach it to talk like you. All right? You don't want it to sound robotic. I have a waste management company and need money to get started. So that sounds like a startup grant. But again, what are you doing? How is your waste management company different? Who is it serving? What is it doing differently? All right, let's see. I think that was it for the questions. Let me make sure. Our founder recons, we need to run a pilot study before applying for a grant. Is it worth applying even before that a pilot study to determine what? To determine whether or not it's successful or it's viable before you even start the organization? Is that it? If you're going to run a pilot study, I think that data from the pilot study is going to be very important for you to put into a grant application. But what you could be doing now is searching for the grants. You can search for the grants now. You need to know how to search for the grants now. But I think the pilot study is going to give you data and information that you're going to need to put into those grant applications. You just need to know the organizations that are giving grants to waste management companies. That's not how you search for grants. That's why you need a strategy. Because if you Google grants for waste management companies, I doubt if you get anything. I doubt if you get anything at all. That's just not how you search for grants. It could be your industry. What are you doing? For example, with your waste management company, are you investing in clean air energy? Is there anything about, are you helping with clean? Okay, that's a potential grant. Remember, I talked about where the hot areas are? Are you a Black-owned organization? Search for grants that are geared towards Black-owned organizations, right? What are you doing in that waste management company? Are you educating the community on better ways to recycle? Okay, maybe you should be applying for a recycling grant. That's what we teach. That's why you have to know how to do this. And trying to do it on your own typically doesn't work because you get frustrated and you don't know what to do and you don't know where to go, right? Well, there you go. It says what you're doing is different because it's going to solve a major waste management problem in my community and empower youth and give my nation a healthy environment. So, given that, we would need to sit down and talk and really have a conversation on what does that mean? Because the more you talk about it, the more I can see additional grant opportunities, right? You mentioned empowering youth. I don't know what that has to do with your organization, but maybe you're teaching youth, right? How to help in their community. That sounds like a youth development grant to me. So this is why it's important to be in a community where you can get the help. And that's what I create. I've created a community. So when you buy either of those courses, you come into my community. So you have a Facebook group. You can ask questions at any time. I do live group coaching calls. You can ask me questions live because you do need to know what this process is about, right? You need to know. Okay. Let's see if there are any more questions here. Can you give us a list of funders? We charge $1,000 to $1,500 for a list of funders with the knowledge gain once I have the links. But you can learn to do it yourself. Now, if you want to buy the grant prep program, you get 10. You get 10. Or you can come in and buy one of the courses. In both courses, we teach you how to find and develop a list of grants for your organization. We do so in either of those courses, even the one that's only $147. I believe that is it for the questions. Let me make sure. Let me make sure there. All right, so we are done. So I want to thank you all for hopping on. Hopefully, I will see you in the Facebook group because when you buy one of the courses, you're going to be admitted into the Facebook group. So, like, we're a family in the Facebook group. You come into my community where you get help. And guess what? For those of you who are buying one of the courses or the grant prep and you come into the Facebook group, I'm going to ask you for a couple of questions or ask you a couple of questions. And based on your answers, I can give you like a little, maybe 3 or 4 different links to grants. I will do that for you if you buy one of the courses. You will come into the Facebook group. You're going to get a link, a welcome link. And then you can tell me a little bit more about your organization. I can give you some links that are going to help you know where you should be searching for grants because they're going to be links that are germane to your organization. All right. I believe that is it. Let me just make sure. Oh, make absolutely sure. Thank you, Melissa. You included um, grantwritingfornonwriters.com. Hello at grantwritingfornonwriters.com. That is my email. You can send me an email if you want to meet and talk about the grant prep course. But at the end of the day, you're trying to get free grant money. You're going to have to make at least a little bit of an investment in yourself. This is about investing in yourself and your dream. This is about investing in yourself and your dream. All right. I want to thank you all for hopping on. And you're going to get the replay via email. So make sure you look out for the replay that you're going to get via email. All right. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. You have the email. You'll get the replay via email. I just don't want it to go to your spam folder. And I want to thank you so much for hopping on. And I just wish you all the best. Keep moving forward. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. Keep moving forward. And hopefully I will see you in this Facebook group. 147 for the AI course, 297 for the original course that teaches you how to write. And then if you want us to do it for you, 997. Hopefully I will see you all because it is time to get this grant money. Now is the best time because a lot of grants at the beginning of the year are first come, first serve. And by the way, the person that asked about the list of grants, we drop grants in the Facebook group all the time. So we literally have so many grants that are open right now in the Facebook group. All right. Thank you all so much. You have a safe and a prayerful night and weekend, and happy Valentine's Day. Thank you. Bye bye.